Imagine scientists discovering that one of the largest predators in Earth's history never actually went extinct. For millions of years, Megalodon ruled the oceans. A gigantic shark far larger than today's great white. Scientists believed it disappeared roughly 3.6 million years ago. But then, something strange happens in the Pacific Ocean. A research vessel detects an enormous object moving thousands of meters beneath the surface. At first, researchers assume it's a whale. But the object is too fast, too large, and its movement pattern doesn't match any known marine animal. Days later, an underwater camera captures several seconds of footage. A massive shadow passes through the darkness. Then its enormous dorsal fin appears. Scientists estimate the creature could be more than 15 meters long. The footage spreads around the world. And suddenly, the impossible becomes real. Megalodon is still alive, but how could something this enormous remain hidden? The answer might be surprisingly simple. The ocean is unbelievably vast. Much of its deepest regions remain poorly explored. If a small population had adapted to deeper waters, humans might rarely encounter them. But now something has changed. The megalodons are moving closer to the surface. Whales begin disappearing along migration routes. Fishing crews report enormous bite marks on large marine animals. Sonar systems detect massive creatures following ships. Then, one megalodon is spotted near a major shipping route. And humanity realizes this discovery isn't only about finding a prehistoric animal. Because the ocean suddenly has an apex predator, larger than anything modern humans have ever had to live beside. Within months, megalodon sightings begin increasing, not everywhere, but enough to change the way humans use the ocean. Scientists discover that several megalodons are following whale migration routes. For them, the modern ocean has become an enormous hunting ground. Whales begin changing their routes. Shark populations move into unfamiliar waters. Entire marine food chains start reacting to the return of a predator absent for millions of years. But humans feel the consequences too. Some beaches are temporarily closed after enormous shadows are detected offshore. Fishing boats avoid certain deep water regions. Research vessels begin carrying advanced sonar systems. And shipping companies carefully track megalodon movements. Still, these animals aren't hunting humans. A person would provide very little food compared with a whale. The real danger comes from simply being near an animal powerful enough to damage a small boat without even intending to. Then scientists make another discovery. The megalodons aren't appearing randomly. Several are traveling toward the same remote region of the Pacific. Researchers follow them using satellites and underwater drones. Deep beneath the surface, they discover something extraordinary. A vast underwater canyon. Warm currents rise from below. Whales frequently pass nearby, and sonar detects movement throughout the darkness. Not one megalodon, not 5, dozens. Humanity hasn't discovered a single prehistoric survivor. It has discovered an entire hidden population. Years pass, and humanity learns to live with megalodon. Scientists create global tracking networks using satellites, sonar buoys, and underwater drones. Whenever one approaches populated coastlines, warnings are issued. But the biggest changes happen beneath the surface. Megalodons begin reshaping marine ecosystems. Whales avoid certain feeding grounds. Smaller sharks move into new territories. Some species increase, while others decline. The ocean begins adjusting to an apex predator that hasn't existed for millions of years. Then scientists discover something worrying. Several young megalodons are leaving the deep water canyon. They're spreading into new oceans. One appears near Australia, another is detected off South America. Then another crosses the Atlantic. The hidden population is expanding. Governments begin debating what to do. Should humans control their numbers? Should megalodons become protected animals? Or should we simply accept that the ocean belongs to them too? Scientists argue that killing them could create even more ecological problems. So instead, humanity adapts. Ships receive real-time megalodon tracking. Certain migration zones become protected. New underwater monitoring stations appear across the oceans. And slowly, people begin viewing megalodon differently. Not as a monster, not as something that should be destroyed, but as an animal doing exactly what it evolved to do: survive. Yet one question remains. If something this enormous could remain hidden from humanity for millions of years, what else might still be waiting in the unexplored depths? Decades after the first confirmed megalodon sighting, the shock has faded. Children now grow up knowing that somewhere beneath the waves, giant prehistoric sharks still exist. Megalodon tracking becomes as normal as monitoring hurricanes. Every major ship has access to live migration maps. Underwater sensors stretch across important shipping routes. Autonomous drones patrol popular coastlines, detecting large animals long before they approach swimmers or boats. Humans haven't defeated Megalodon, they have simply learned how to stay out of its way. And surprisingly, serious encounters become rare. Scientists realize that megalodons have little reason to approach humans. Their world revolves around large marine animals, migration routes, breeding grounds, and enormous stretches of open ocean. The terrifying monster imagined by movies turns out to be something far more interesting: a real animal, with behaviors, social patterns, and an ecological role. For the first time, researchers can study a predator previously known only from fossilized teeth. They discover how megalodons communicate, how far they migrate, how they raise their young, how long they live, and how they influence the movement of whales across entire oceans. Some individuals become famous. One enormous female is tracked for more than 40 years. Scientists watch her cross the Pacific repeatedly. They watch her give birth. They watch her offspring eventually leave and establish territories of their own. Humanity begins seeing Megalodon not as a creature from prehistory, but as part of the modern natural world. Entire regions of ocean are eventually declared protected Megalodon habitats. Fishing is restricted, shipping lanes are redirected, whale populations inside some protected regions begin recovering because industrial activity decreases. Ironically, the return of one of history's greatest predators forces humanity to protect enormous areas of ocean. But the discovery creates another revolution. Deep-sea exploration receives unprecedented funding. If an animal as enormous as Megalodon could remain hidden, scientists want to know what else we've missed. New submarines descend into trenches humans have barely explored. Robotic vehicles travel beneath Antarctic ice. Cameras enter underwater caves isolated for millions of years. Thousands of previously unknown species are discovered. Strange fish, transparent creatures, massive colonies living around hydrothermal vents, entire ecosystems surviving without sunlight. The Megalodon discovery changes how humanity thinks about Earth itself. We had mapped distant planets, looked billions of light years into space, and searched for life beyond our world. Yet enormous parts of our own planet remained mysterious. Then, one night, a research submarine descends into one of the deepest trenches in the Pacific. Its lights illuminate nothing but black water. The crew is several kilometers beneath the surface, far deeper than most megalodons normally travel. Suddenly, the sonar detects movement. Something large. The researchers assume it's another megalodon. But the shape is wrong. The signal moves slowly beneath them, then disappears beyond the range of the sonar. Nobody sees the animal. Nobody knows exactly what it was. The submarine returns to the surface, and scientists spend months analyzing the data. They never identify it, and perhaps that's the most important consequence of discovering a living megalodon. It would remind humanity that the ocean isn't an empty blue space between continents. It's another world, a world covering most of our planet, with mountains, valleys, volcanoes, trenches, and darkness stretching for kilometers beneath the surface. Megalodon surviving until today wouldn't mean the oceans suddenly became dangerous. The oceans were always wild. We simply forgot, because we believed we understood them. So if Megalodon still existed today, humanity would eventually adapt. We would track it, study it, protect ourselves from it, and perhaps even protect it from us. But every time someone looked across the seemingly peaceful ocean, they would remember one extraordinary fact. Far beneath those waves, a predator from millions of years ago could still be swimming through the darkness. And if something that enormous could remain hidden for so long, then perhaps the most frightening question isn't, what if Megalodon still existed? It's, what else haven't we found yet?